The 1930s. In an era that saw the streamlining of automobiles, airplanes, and trains, big hats, jumpsuits, and some of the most famous names in aviation history, also came some of the darkest times in U.S. history. Today, I would like to talk to you about three of those events. The first one would be the Great Depression. The second one is the Dust Bowl. And the third one is aviation tragedies. In 1930, due to the fear that their money was not safe, many people began to pull their money from banks. In fact, by 1932, out of the 25,000 national banks across the United States, over 11,000 of them had closed due to the fact that they no longer had enough money to stay open. To make matters worse, the Dust Bowl of the 1930s brought about one of the greatest droughts in U.S. history, causing dust storms and black blizzards, which caused the soil to dissipate, and therefore crops began to fail nationwide. As a result of this, many people fled their farms and headed west towards California in hopes of finding a better life. In fact, in the 1930s, this became a very popular thing to do. As people lost their homes, they would build shanty towns, or they would travel by train to different locations across the United States in hopes of finding a better life. One of the things about that was that a lot of people blamed President Hoover for their misfortunes, and therefore he became the laughingstock of the United States. In fact, many things were nicknamed after him that were things that the poor, the misfortunate used. One of the more famous ones was newspapers. In the 30s, the poor people would sleep under newspapers as a blanket, and so these became known as the Hoover blankets, as a way of poking fun at President Hoover. Of course, we know that because of the streamlining of airplanes, you began to have a lot of famous aviation record holders, such as Amelia Earhart and Fred Newman, who attempted to cross the Pacific Ocean. On their last lap of their journey, they left out from New Guinea in July 2nd of 1937. They were supposed to travel 2,500 miles to the end of their destination, which was Howland Island. They never made it there. For some reason, they began to have radio failure and issues with the plane, and they were never seen again. Of course, another very famous tragedy that took place during this time was the Hindenburg, one of the more famous German blimps. It attempted to dock in the New Jersey shore, and shortly after attempting to dock, the blimp caught fire. The 97 passengers on board, over 35 of them died, and many people on the ground who were helping try to dock the blimp died as well. It became the fourth largest tragedy in passenger blimp history, and it would spell the end of passenger blimps forever. The third tragedy that I'd like to talk to you about today is about Frank Goldsberg. A lot of people really don't remember this one. He was a famous aviation pilot who was known for holding the record for the fastest airplane pilot in history at the time. And on his 20th birthday, he was doing a routine flight just for fun, crashed his plane, and spent 18 hours with head injuries inside of his cockpit. By the time they found him unconscious, they were able to take him to the hospital, and he died the next day. But probably the most tragic thing about this is that Frank's record, a month after his death, would be broke by a young man named Eddie August. Despite all of these tragedies, the U.S. would recover, and due to these the financial tragic events, we started the FDIC. We also started unemployment for those that become unemployed. The FDIC secures our money so that banks don't have to worry about runs on the bank. And of course, unemployment helps people pay for their bills until they can find another job. And because of aviators like Frank and Amelia, the airlines also managed to make safeguards and do things to protect those that are in the air. We now have black boxes, and we have radio detection, so that we can detect where aircraft is in the air, so that if something does go down, they have a better chance of finding people alive. So though these events were very tragic, it led to a brighter future for all of us. Thank you.